Hi everybody. So I am really excited about today because my clients, Bill and Patty, they bought this house and we signed on it and closed July 1st. And I am just super excited for you to meet them and see their amazing, beautiful home. I hear there's a password that I have to say.
Password?
Fidelio? Oh, I'm so happy for you guys.
Thank you.
It's really not.
I do too.
Well,
So
come on
happy
in.
to see your new home.
Do you like our door?
I love.
This was Bill's idea.
I bet you did that with a lot of things in this
Yeah.
house. I never really knew how much into art you were and the finer things in life.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it,
Yeah.
because of our
Yeah.
how we met, the journey, the path, and then I walk in and you're like, oh, this is gonna be here and this artist here.
I've been in medicine, obviously, all my life. It's kind of like my next step.
Well, and Bill too.
Yeah.
I mean,
She brought me into the house, yeah.
So, do you want to know about our kitchen? Well, the fans were in the model, and I loved them, and I said I want those fans. So, we went to the.
And they're functional, you can feel them. And I wanted
Yeah.
the gas stove top,
Yeah.
standalone. So, yeah, this is what makes it cool. You can put your pots and pans down there.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I love that.
That's-
the water.
That was
I
Bill's idea.
needed to have a pot filler.
That's awesome.
We wanted the fireplace because.
But we're in Arizona, so you have to
Yeah.
run the AC if you want a fire.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite part about the kitchen is I love the cabinetry and the countertops, but I also love how you can be in the kitchen and still be a part of it. If you have company,
Yes.
you're not
Yes.
missing out on
Yes.
anything.
So you bring the inside out and the outside in.
Second largest lot
0.26 acre.
in the neighborhood. And right behind him is a lake. So Bill likes to fish and he's going to use it.
And this is going to be a big, huge, like pavers patio with a fire pit in the middle.
It isn't just a 4-car tandem garage, but it's an air conditioned. I mean, it's actually cold in here. There's no getting into a warm car.
It's 73 degrees.
There's no worrying about things sitting in the car too long and they're gonna melt. So today I'm sitting here with Bill and Patty, and I think they have quite a story, but I think together we have quite a story and journey. I was showing homes one Sunday morning to a client whose name was Travis Yazzie. I got done showing the house to Travis and his to-be wife, Clarissa, and they loved it. So we were talking about our strategy on how to get it. And as I'm standing there, I saw this truck drive up and I kind of went and met you off at the pass. And I met Bill and Patty and they're like, we came by to see this house. And I'm like, it's not for sale anymore. We're buying it. I got kind of selfish with it. And they're like, no, can we talk to you? Are you a realtor? And I was like, yes. They were from Washington. And so I was super excited. We talked for like an hour and a half, I would say.
You think I said, no, you don't understand. We don't want this house. We want you.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
it was easy to win you guys over.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we sat for about an hour and a half at the property. We talked. I learned a lot about them. Introduced them to a realtor in Washington because they had a house to sell in Washington. Mike Evans, he's another EXP agent who did a fabulous job
Very
for you
fabulous,
guys.
yeah.
The goal was to get them into a new build and
A forever home.
a forever home.
But one that we could design. Yeah.
So we walked into a Taylor Morrison home. It was in a retirement community, and they fell in love. And they went to designs. We went under contract, went to design centers, and in the meantime,
Someone got sick.
Patty the reason she was down here originally was because she needed a liver transplant. And liver transplant went bad. Had to have another liver transplant. And
So ended
got
up
COVID.
got COVID.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was sick
Yes.
with that for several months. So my recovery period went from several months to over a year, almost 2 years. So, yeah, so we ended up losing that house.
So so what happened was then sold the house. Patty, what did you live in? What do they call it? A park home.
Yeah, park home.
Bill was living in a RV
Yeah.
right
RV.
next to it. Oh my gosh. She was still having to go back and forth to the VA. And unfortunately, they got in a position that they had to use some of their money that they had from the sale of their house to live on for a while.
Yeah.
So then when it came, your house is finished,
Almost.
almost finished,
And they finished 2 months early.
2 months early,
Yeah.
we found ourselves in a pickle.
But
Because she had got, which is a good pickle in a way, because you had gotten better,
yes.
and better than they ever
Yeah.
expected.
And I thought I was just going to end up taking a medical retirement, but then it turned out that getting a medical retirement was going to take at least 6 months. So I was healthy enough to go back to work. Why not go back to work? So I ended up going back to work. But the thing is that my job was in Washington and I needed to have a job in Arizona. So we ended up losing the house. But you did go to bat for us. And that's one thing that we're really happy that we had a realtor, even if we were doing a new build where you wouldn't necessarily have to have a realtor. But Evie went to bat for us and she got her $87,000 that we'd put down.
Earnest money.
For us, as long as we built in Ovation within a year. But then we started going to look, and then it turns out that all the model homes that the size that we wanted, they weren't selling those anymore. So we were going to have to way downsize. So we weren't even going to get into a house that we would even necessarily like. So then Bill, what was it, September? August, in August?
August, September, yeah.
Yeah, so he was stuck in traffic on Signal Butte. And you can tell him.
Made a left on the Barney Farms Road.
Yeah.
Came in and saw lakes. I'm like, ooh, lakes. And the more I drove, the prettier it got. And I was like, we're going to have to come look here. And I saw it because we've driven by it, about 4 neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So we're like,
but we had never gone in.
We'll come by and look.
Yeah.
So I went home and I was looking on my phone on the internet and I was like, let's check out this model. And yeah.
It was the Acacia.
It was this model.
Yeah.
So we came and looked at it, but we're deciding between this one and another one.
Yeah, so we went through all the models except for the smallest ones several times. And then what did we end up? We ended up going back to the Acacia.
And then we explained to the builder our situation with the earnest money there. We didn't want to lose out on it. And so they worked a bunch of numbers and basically
it was a wash. Yeah.
I don't know if you had anything to do with that or what.
Yeah,
I
have
don't
no
remember.
idea.
Because what happened was they called me and they're like, Evie, we found a home. Can you meet us there? And I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean you found a home? We're ready to write the offer.
Because we basically went in there without you.
Without me.
Yes.
We were just
which
asking,
we didn't know.
We were just asking questions at that point.
Yeah.
Just
we weren't even like thinking. But as soon as we decided that, yes, we were going to buy, then that's when we called you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And myself, I was like, well, honestly, it's probably too late for me to come in and help.
But they let you.
Yes. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I just kind of walked in and said, listen, I helped them get their Taylor Morrison home and saved them. They're holding the $87,000 for them. That would have never happened. Can you please allow me to represent them here? It's just been a journey.
It has
and
been.
what I want to say to people is, this is how it works sometimes. Life happens.
But
right?
things happen for a reason. We met you for a reason. I got sick. And to tell you the truth, even the second transplant, I think, it was God's way of telling me that we needed to stay here in Arizona. Also, it brought my sister and I very close together. And it was like awesome having her live with me for a year when I was so sick and Bill was still up in Washington, so we lived at Mayo, and and then the fact that that fell through, and we ended up with this home, and this is our forever home, and it's
I think it's a better
exactly
home.
how we wanted it.
I think it's a better home.
It's a better home. Yeah, I definitely think.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm so happy for
Yeah.
you.
it's been quite a journey for
Yeah.
us obviously as a couple, and me as an individual.
It gets easier, right?
It does, yeah. And then Bill just had a major heart attack, and so
The day after you closed on this house.
Day after we got
Yeah.
the keys.
we were thinking, what?
I hadn't even. I told her. I
What
said,
else could go wrong?
I'm going to go buy the house tonight. Didn't make it.
No. Yeah. And I was packing up in one room, and the phone was in the other room. He'd been calling me for 20 minutes to tell me he was on the way to the hospital. He was having a heart attack, and I didn't know about it. And finally walked into the bedroom. The phone was going crazy, and was out the door in like 5 minutes. And then by the time I was on 202 to 101, the doctor's already calling me and telling me that he was out of the cath lab, and they had basically fixed his heart. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Timing.
hmm
God's plan.
It's all timing.
God's plan, definitely.
Absolutely. Well, if you're looking to buy a home, just know that sometimes you might want it right now, which is normally how we live our lives, you know.
Yes, definitely.
Most people have no patience. These two had patience, and it paid off. And sometimes you think that this is what you want, but with the patience, if you have patience, you'll get even more.
Yeah, we knew what we wanted. We knew we couldn't get it right now.
Yeah. And it was hard at times. That November when we knew we were going to lose the house, I was a freaking mess. I talked to you. I was crying on the phone, and that was probably the lowest of our low.
Well,
time.
and for me, as your agent, I'm just like, I honestly wanted to vomit. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a new build. They'll never, ever. So I do have to give a shout out to Taylor Morrison, because they were, they're like, well, life happens. And I'm like, I know, but come on.
Yeah, it was definitely.
This is not normal life. This is so many things. And you've got, at some point in time, people have got to have a heart, even if they have a hard no. But they did.
They did.
And I was grateful. And then when they told me they were willing to give up their $87,000, I almost had another
heart attack. Yeah.
Heart attack.
But it worked out.
But
worked out.
But then when Fulton, so here's a shout out to Fulton.
Yeah.
When Fulton heard that and they gave you an $80,000 discount, I didn't
they
feel
worked
so
their-
bad
they
about
worked their
your
numbers.
$7,000
And then
at that
we
point.
were going to go with Chad, who
Yes.
is your finance person, but then it
You got
actually
your
worked
closing
out in
costs.
our advantage to actually use their finance company,
Yes.
because we got 25% off. So in the long run, I think this house probably, yes, we did do a lot of money in upgrades, but it was upgrades that we wanted. So this house was a lot more expensive than the house that we would have been getting. But we got what we wanted. I mean, this is truly like the home that I don't think we would have been nearly as happy in the other home as we were going to be here. So, yeah.
Well,
So I have to say, Evie Brown, real estate from the heart.
thank you. Well, thank you so much for showing up that day in
Yeah.
December.
Yeah.
And thank you for the conversation. Thank you for opening
It's
up.
almost 3 years.
I know. Thank you for opening up to me.
So, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can't find a better realtor, I don't think. And I mean, I'm not saying that because I'm biased. I really feel like she went way and above what any other realtor would do, and
Stuck with us.
stuck with us through thick and thin and ups and downs, and we're finally in our forever home. So
thank you.
you're welcome.
Well, on that note, I think we should call it a wrap.
Okay.
So let's do that. Evie Brown, real estate.
From the heart.